Follow me, please. If you don't follow me, I'll cut your throat. I'm sorry.
I would tell you to go watch the first part of the story first if you haven't, but I'll take a wild guess that you're not going to do that even if I put the link in the description below. So here's a quick recap. Basically, my mom told my dad and me about this opportunity to participate in a commercial shoot for this company. Artificial intelligence is what they are creating, and they ask us to test the software that they are making. Driven by the whopping $4,000 pay! We made it to the studio without any delay. Then we met this guy named Michael, played by SomethingElseYT. He told us we're invited because we represent Chinese. My dad had to pee, so he went to the other side. Now, I'm not sure if I can continue because these things might be classified. I changed, I waited, I finally walked into the studio. I followed the directions, stood there like I'm on a game show. They told me to ask the AI how to tie a tie, but I have to use Mandarin Chinese. Thus, 怎么系领带? The AI assistant.
Start with the back side of the tie facing away from you. The wide end is on the right and the small end is on the left. Wide end under the small end to the left.
That was what I imagined the AI voice to sound like. And of course that was not the reality. Here's the actual voice.
一开始先将领带反面朝外，宽端应放在右侧，窄端在左，交叉。
Okay, I understand that this was only supposed to be a prototype, but the voice was absolutely horrendous. It was like a real person talking, but then the voice was so unnecessarily and heavily edited. Nonetheless, the assistant answered all my questions perfectly in complete sentences, which was pretty impressive and smart. When the assistant finished talking, Michael asked me to share some thoughts regarding to the performance in Chinese. I don't know about y'all, but it was seriously difficult to come up with some intelligent responses on the spot. Especially when you've stayed in the US for 5 years straight without being exposed to adequate Chinese material. Your Chinese skill actually decays gradually throughout the years. It's freaking sad. As a result, my responses were third graders level at their best. And my facial expressions? Let's just move on. Several questions later, Michael called for a break. I was still not over the fact that the voice was being bizarre as frick, so I went to Michael to ask about it. I mentioned that it sounded like a real person reading a paragraph instead of some sort of text-to-speech program. Michael just ha-ha'd and told me that they were indeed recordings, but the design of the voice was still incomplete, so don't worry about it. Okay. After the break was over, we finished the rest of the questions.
Thank you so much, Henry. Now, slowly look to your left.
So I did. Then I saw my father, walking in, smirking. Wait, what does that even mean? Oh my gosh, no way, that voice was you. My dad just burst into laughter as I realized the master plot.
I apologize. Actually, I am not a CEO of an AI project. I'm actually a film director and advertising manager. And you and your dad just participated in a Gillette commercial shoot.
The theme was absolutely sweet and genius. No artificial intelligence knows better about you than your own father. Michael told us that they were going to shoot a few more coverage shots of us communicating about our feelings, aka the fake shots. And the filming was finished with a big, joyful hug, which was also fake. Yeah, right, Henry. Quit your unrealistic bullcrap. Vid or it didn't happen.
就是说，在这个科技互联网时代，这个互联网带给孩子们的东西太多，所以说父亲的角色在慢慢淡化。
All right, so we're testing this incredible new technology.
怎样知道我已经坠入爱河了？
和他在一起有说不完的话题，分开后很快就会想他。
太厉害了，太厉害了。
就是说，有什么问题你可以问问我。
Oh. What is that cringy smile? What do you... After that interesting experience, 5 months have passed. When it was finally close to Father's Day, I discovered the published commercial on Gillette's official YouTube channel. Unfortunately, our clips didn't make it to the final cut. I think they only showed the American, Mexican, and Japanese fathers and sons. I showed the video to my dad and told him that we weren't so lucky.
儿子，人家没选咱们，是不是因为我们当时忘了哭了？
Yeah. we forgot to cry. All 3 families that made it into the final cut have shown extremely heart-rending interactions after the dramatic reveal. Like, look, I get it. It is sentimental, and the goal is to trigger audiences' emotional string of love toward their fathers. Although it is a traditional and effective technique, it feels somewhat unrealistic and overused. My opinion is that nobody should expect every single dad out there to share the same tender relationship with their sons. One clear exception will be my father and me. We rather prefer reacting to the event in the more cheerful and delighted mood than being sensitive and tear-jerking for the sake of the audience. An easygoing and casual relationship doesn't necessarily indicate that it's a careless one. Humans have multiple diverse emotions, thus love can be reflected from several elements other than just tears of happiness. If I was the producer, I would definitely show more varieties of reactions as long as the interaction shows an intimate connection. I truly feel that adding people who display different types of emotions helps to make the film more relatable and even more sympathetic than only showing the "La la, I love you so much, the water must flow out from my vision hose." Freaking marketing. Okay, so what are we learning this time?
Can you teach us how to say like, comment, and subscribe in Chinese?
点赞、评论、订阅、点赞、评论、订阅. You know, I did say that I'll teach you guys some useless Chinese as well, but
Say poop in Chinese.
seriously? Is that what you guys want to learn? I mean, fine, okay, fine by me. There are a lot of ways to say poop. We have 屎、粪、把、大便、翔. Well, now you know how to say shit, I mean, poop. I hope you're happy. Anyway, keep leaving those suggestions and I'll pick a couple more to teach next time.
Alright, hey everybody, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button like 1,000 bajillion times. Also, you can find my channel over at SomethingElseYT, YouTube, just type in SomethingElseYT, I'll pop up. And don't forget to eat carrots and stay healthy and stay hydrated.
Now that I think about it, maybe it's only because YouTube is blocked in China, and since they won't reach most of the Chinese audience, it will be kinda pointless to include me and my dad. Freaking communist!